So the new experimental horror movie out right now is Skinamarink. I just watched it on Shudder. There are the people who really appreciated it, really got under their skin, and there are the people that are like, this is tedious. What the hell is this? I can totally see both perspectives, and I understand and respect both. Everybody has their own taste. I loved this movie. I can honestly say nothing like this has ever been made, at least that I've seen. Usually when you watch a horror movie these days, or any movie frankly, you can say like, oh, they took inspiration from, Sergio Leone or something like that. Nope, this movie invented its own style of filmmaking. It'll focus on like the top corner of a ceiling, or like the edge of a desk, or the carpet, and you'll see like a little bit of the TV, like in the upper left corner of the screen. And while this is happening, you're hearing things, and certain sounds are amplified, almost like ASMR, but like reverse ASMR, like evil ASMR. Instead of it's supposed to calm your nerves, it's supposed to get in your skin. There's this like almost kind of consistent feedback, like an old worn VHS. And the film, which takes place in 1995, has like a very grainy kind of look about it. And the graininess and the weird sounds and the weird camera angles, things are always happening. It's just the camera isn't in on the action the whole time. It'll be focused on something rather random. So it forces you to really pay attention and to really like immerse yourself in what's going on. And in that regard, you kind of can't escape. There was a scene in this movie, I'm not going into any specifics about it at all because I don't want to spoil this movie. It was so unnerving and so drawn out. It brought me back to a feeling that I have not experienced since childhood. When I first started watching horror movies, I was terrified to the bone, but I couldn't look away. My dad had on An American Werewolf in London when I was 4 years old, and he was like, Jay, you probably shouldn't be watching this. I was like, no, I'm fine. Waiting for the ball to drop, waiting for something to happen, like a situation that you just want to be out of. And after a certain point, I got this anxiety that built up, all right, come on, whatever's gonna happen, let it happen. What the fuck? Let it happen. And I mean, there were a couple times where I caught myself almost side-eyeing the screen. I'm like, no, don't be a little bitch. And this movie is not chock full of jump scares. It has some, but the masterwork of just the uncomfortable feeling of having you hyper focus on this movie and every sound and every image. It's just, again, it forces you to look the scare square in the face. And I just think that it's brilliant filmmaking. Like I said, it's not for everybody. There's going to be just as many people out there who can't stand this. I don't really see this being copied successfully. I'm not saying that somebody won't try, but this really just comes off as like a one-off experimental kind of a thing. But either way, this is like the OG. I think that everybody should go out and see this movie, frankly, because whether you like it or not, it is kind of revolutionary in the way that it's made. And it would be cool to, I don't know, it's just nice to see something invented before your eyes. It had no music. A lot of the audio actually relied on old Fleischer cartoons, which is another thing because I recognized Song of the Birds, Small Fry, Dreamland. There were a couple, and I used to watch all these cartoons when I was a kid. So that also kind of brought me back to what it felt like being a kid going to bed at night. It's a very visceral movie. In order to vaguely understand what's going on, you have to hyper-focus on the movie. It's brilliant. If I have one criticism about the movie, towards the end, it gets very Eraserhead, which I have nothing against. But the last, I'd say about 20 minutes of the movie do kind of drag a little bit. I understand that they were trying to keep it at the same pace and carry out the same form of scare. They didn't want it to turn into a roller coaster, and I respect that. And I'm not saying that the ending wasn't awful or anything like that. It's just I would have maybe shaved 10 or so minutes out of it. It wasn't even that big of a deal. It's just I did find myself asking where's this going? you don't really get that answer. But at any rate, Skinamarink, half of you're going to love it, half of you're going to hate it. But I think that everybody should watch it just because this is an experience. It's unlike anything that you've seen before. But that's my thoughts on the film. Anybody else see Skinamarink? Please, let's have a conversation about this movie because I just want to talk about it with everybody. And that's all she wrote.